Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by with some of the meta updates that we've seen within Warzone recently. The top 5 fastest killing options, the best TTK guns in the game, have shifted around a little bit, and there's honestly some surprising options here for if you're purely going after time to kill as the main factor in your setup. So jumping right in, we are starting first with a surprising one for some players. If you've been around the channel for a little bit, you might have seen this one pop up here and there, but the RAPP LMG from MW2. All the information, all these TTK numbers are coming directly from true game data, so they've been tested. They are as accurate as we can possibly have them. And with the RAPP here at 57 meters, so like prime long range, it's got an 893 millisecond TTK, which is better than every other LMG in the game and the vast majority of other weapons at that range, while also being a pretty low recoil LMG at the same time. So this thing is deadly accurate. Its downsides, well, it's an MW2 gun, so its attachments kind of suck, and it's ridiculously slow. Its mobility and its reload are pretty rough, but if you can just focus on spraying and praying all your ammo into enemies, you'll have plenty of time to reload because they'll be spectating, right? So initially here, we got the cast and spray compensator, making it super easy to predict the recoil pattern here, attacking all that horizontal and adding in some firing aim stability. I've also got the Bruin heavy support, doing more for your idle sway and firing aim stability, plus more horizontal recoil being attacked there, making this gun super predictable across the board. The high grain ammo here will help out with that extended range and better velocity, making this even more lethal and even more efficient in the mid to long range. We got the 100 round mag, the only option for an extended mag here, but if I have to reload less because I use this, that's a win in my book. And then lastly, I got the 2.5 times Eagle Eye optic on here too. Like I said, it's an MW2 gun, so a lot of the stocks end up hurting you more than helping. Same deal with a lot of the barrels, so you're somewhat limited with these attachments, but this is a good setup regardless, and it has a ridiculous TTK as mentioned. Now, thanks to a couple of buffs with Season 3 Reloaded, the base Striker SMG is now one of the best sniper support options in the game, and when it comes to comparing this against the other subs, this thing's like second and third damage ranges are crazy. At 27 meters, which is out there for an SMG, but still doable for sure, it's got a 744 millisecond TTK, which is wildly impressive and not really something you're going to see, you know, since we had, I'd say the AMR 9 is like a rifle back, you know, a few seasons ago. So this thing is definitely up there in terms of TTK. It's also very easy to use, and I love how aggressive this setup is at the same time. We got the ZEM 35 compensator. This is a great option. While it is hurting your velo some, the Striker has crazy good velocity. 621 for a sub is great for the mid-range. We got the long barrel on here. This will actually bring our velocity back up and also extend that lethal damage range out some. The DR6 hand stop, better mobility across the board with movement, strafe, ADS, and sprint to fire. It's only hurting your hip fire, which is not a huge deal whatsoever. We got the 60 round drum on here, all the ammo in the world at this fire rate. It's not that crazy, so that's great. Then lastly, I do go for the light stock, speeds it up a tad bit here. That said, if you are fighting in the mid-range and you feel like you need an optic, you could definitely drop the stock for something like, you know, an AW Gen 1 if you like this optic, or a glassless, or a NIDAR, or anything like that. Whatever optic you're comfortable with, that'd be a viable replacement here too. But yeah, the Striker is feeling phenomenal after the past couple of updates. By the way, as we are going through all the loadouts here today, if you are new to the channel or you simply have not subscribed yet, let's change that, because this is your place to be for everything going on in COD. If you want to stay up to date with the news, patch notes, and all meta breakdowns, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, or if you simply find it helpful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. Much love, as always, to everyone who takes the time to do so. Next up, maybe another bit of a surprise option, but it's one that we've actually talked about a handful of times, and it just seems like it keeps getting better in terms of TTK, the FTAC Recon. I will say this is by far the least practical and the highest skill gap weapon on the list here today. Keep in mind, just because a weapon has a crazy fast TTK doesn't necessarily mean it's like some broken, crazy, absolute #1 meta gun. Fast TTK doesn't always correlate with crazy good. See things like the SVA, which is a meta rifle but doesn't have a broken TTK. This is kind of the inverse. It's not as practical everywhere, but its TTK is absolutely nuts. At 40 meters, which is decent like mid-range area, a 598 millisecond TTK. That's like unheard of for pretty much everything else in the game. It just has some pretty severe drawbacks. It's semi-auto and it's got decent visual recoil and kick, so it's hard to stay accurate, and you only get 15 rounds to work with, which is not a lot. So you're going to be reloading a ton. You might need some specialist bonus or some sleight of hand here to help you out. But yeah, that's definitely limiting this gun and balancing it out a ton. Beyond that, though, I do have Bruin heavy support. This is super clutch for any semi-auto gun with the idle sway and the horizontal control attacking that, the firing aim stability, making it a lot more predictable and consistent. I actually go for the Scratch 20L suppressor, helps out with even more firing aim stability and hurts our ADS speed by 1%, which is not an issue whatsoever. 2.5 times Eagle Eye Optic. And then frankly, because this is an MW2 gun, the barrels suck, the ammo sucks, the rear grip sucks. These stocks aren't great, but the demo precision is the least harmful of them all. This helps out a little bit with control for some crouch movement and some ADS cons. If you want a fifth attachment, that's one I'd use. It's not going to have a huge impact, but at least it's something. Now another battle rifle, this one a little bit more practical, is the Sidewinder, especially if you're using this in semi-auto, because the semi-auto TTK is actually crazy, especially in the mid-range. So like, this is prime for resurgence style gameplay. At 34 meters, it's got a 643 millisecond TTK, and this gun is a lot easier to use than you might think if you haven't used it in some time. Even the full auto version is great, but semi-auto is where that TTK really shines, really stands out the most, especially in that mid-range. First things first, 2.5 times Eagle Eye Optic, very straightforward. You do only have a 30 round mag here as well. Luckily, the fire rate, even when you're spamming as fast as you can, is not like ridiculous or anything. So 30 rounds is not going to get burned through crazy quick. It's not 45 or 60, so you know, it's not super ideal, but it's definitely not as bad as like the FTAC or Recon, for instance, right? Bruin heavy support, very standard here again, with recentering, the faster recentering, I should say. The consistency of firing aim stability and idle sway on here makes spamming this thing a lot easier. Spirit fire suppressor, better range, better velocity, better control, better pizza, Papa John's. We also got the Predator barrel on here for better control, better velocity, and better range as well. So this thing is a weapon that you probably first used when the game dropped and you're like, wow, this thing's absolutely trash. But after it's seen so many different buffs, it is very competitive now, and in semi-auto, kind of busted in that mid-range. Hey folks, briefly want to chat about my friends over at Gamer Advantage. Of course, GA is no stranger to the channel here. Every single face cam video, you guys see me rocking my Horizon frames. These things are game changers. I've said it before, I'll say it again. There's no more important thing at my setup here, the computers, the monitors, the controllers, than these glasses, because these allow me to do what I do best day in and day out. If you're looking at screens for long periods of time, whether you're working, doing school, gaming, whatever it may be, you got to get yourself a pair of GA frames. They offer prescription and regular lenses. They've got a bunch of different colorways and frames, so a little bit of something for everyone there. And when it comes to sleeping better at night, reducing eye strain, these things are phenomenal. Best of all, if you want to throw in code IMMORTAL at checkout, you end up getting yourself a nice little discount as well. The link for that will be down in the description below if you're interested. And then lastly here, this one is kind of a funky one, because on paper, it's crazy busted. In game, it's going to translate a lot more to your RNG, because it's the Akimbo Wasp Stinger. Now, Akimbo obviously means hip fire, which is not 100% accurate. So the TTK is going to vary here, but up close, this thing is nuts. At 11 meters, it's got a 520 millisecond TTK, which is best option, best available there, basically, for pistols, for SMGs, you name it. But obviously, if you're in hip fire, you miss a couple of those shots, that TTK will, you know, slow down a little bit depending on how many shots you're missing versus how many you're hitting. So this one's a little bit less constant than the other options, but its potential is there for sure. And obviously, the closer you get, the more accurate it's going to get too. So obviously, we are using Akimbo on here. That's what makes or breaks this TTK being crazy fast. 32 round extended mag isn't great for one pistol, but when we got two, it ends up working out nicely. That's enough ammo to get a couple of kills there. The Sidearm L4 laser is going to help out with our hip fire spread, obviously, so that's going to be a go-to choice. I go for the short light barrel. It extends the damage range out some. It helps out with the velocity, which is like, okay, none of these barrels are that great for a hip fire build, right? The other ones hurt that hip fire accuracy, which isn't great. The stocks aren't great either, hurting some of your hip fire accuracy. The ammo here, I mean, none of this is going to be crazy helpful for hip fire either, so you might as well use the barrel, I guess. And then lastly, I go for the breacher devices compensator here, because it ends up actually helping with hip fire spread as well, which is kind of strange, but it actually ends up helping. So that's convenient for what it is. awkward with the setup, but the potential is there for sure, and you probably didn't see this one coming if I had to guess. But that being said, those are 5 of the fastest TTK options here in Warzone right now. And that's gonna wrap things up. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out to guarantee you're always up to date with everything going on in COD. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.